Hello, Minion. I didn't have guests finally, so now I was like, "All right, let me try to get a little head start while I'm here." I'm not even that early. I thought I was gonna try to do the live like 30 minutes earlier, but by the time I set everything up and I was talking to some friends on a group chat, we are planning a hangout. It just ended up being like regular time. But lately on Fridays, it's been like later, if at all. So I'm glad. I was exhausted after work. I took a nap, so I'm pretty well rested. But being well rested is not enough. I'm also drinking an energy drink, so I can be a little more alert for this announcement that I'm going to make once we get more people and um, talking about the cards that I'm doing. I think I think it's good to be a little more energetic, a little more bubbly. I think people want that, and I've been kind of dead just coming onto these lives burnt from walking home from work and being on my feet and walking around the building and stuff. So when I do a live, I'm like exhausted. So, and I know, especially in this time now where everyone's attention span is just like, swapping, and not to be like one of those YouTubers or lives where they just be like screaming at you like like parents trying to get the attention of a child who they're trying to take a photo. Like, all right, look over here, say cheese. That's the same when I see these people on YouTube lives and TikTok lives and YouTubers in general. It's just like this overly stimulated, trying to get the attention. Don't click off, don't click off. It worked though, like then we get people. But anyways, I try not to do any of that. One, I have too much respect for myself. Two, I don't got enough energy for that these days. But that's why I'm drinking W. No, I'm kidding. I'm not kidding, but I think once I'm a little more energetic, it's also fun because I start becoming a motor mouth, and I think there's more to watch if I'm a little more energetic. While we have a nice chunky number of people before you guys leave, I am doing some Marvel drawings. I know people have been wanting to see it for a long time. People have been like, Jake, can you draw this guy? Can you draw that guy? Marvel, Marvel, DC, other crazy characters. And I'm always like, oh, I'd rather focus on my own characters, and I disappoint. I know, I'm sorry. But I can show you guys some of the Marvel drawings I'm doing now. And look at this fat stack. I was waiting. I knew I wanted to announce it this week. Last week I was still working on one of the cards on the lives, and I think I only had two drawn, or maybe two drawn. But I've been putting out card after card. I'm gonna need to buy some more uh more cards. But these are all pencils. So I'm thinking what we'll do today is there's a few I didn't draw that was like, oh, that would be fun to do on the live, like Carnage, the Lizard, some ones I'm mostly known for. Maybe another Venom, because then I'll color that one. Oh, I'm gonna be coloring all of these. I'll color that one like all blue, and I kind of want to do. I could do like different styles of them. The name of the game for these is that I pump them out quick. I don't want to draw one that takes too long. You know what I mean? Because I still have to do my own comics. I still have to do my own cards. I still have commissions. I still have the Patreon cards. So if someone's like, oh, draw like this super complex character, um, you know, or even myself, like let's say there's a character I really like, I may be hesitant to draw them if they're really complex because I don't want to be spending a lot of time on these. Um, Hello, Kaylee, and hello, Molly. Um, so yeah, so I'm kind of avoiding certain characters that I have to draw the face for. I'm kind of focusing on characters with masks because it's faster. So it's all about speed for these things for the most part. Because what are we doing? What are these? These are ACEOs. So my big announcement is that I will be selling these cards. So I will not be holding on to them. My poor babies. Um, they will have happy homes as I'm making an eBay account. I'm still in the process of getting that set up. And so I think I'll start these off to be bidded. To be bidded, is that right? So I'll put these on eBay and see if I do my first bids that my first auctions. What am I saying? Um, and I'll I'll keep them at my standard rates as far as like typically for a colored sketch, I do like $15. Um, so I'll start it at that, and whoever wants it, they can bid on it for. I think if I can control how long, I think I'll keep the bid open for like a week. There'll be more details on that, but I'll show you guys which ones I've done so far. So, black costume Spider-Man. I originally wanted just regular costume Spider-Man to be the first one I did, but when I was announcing this early on the Patreon for the paid subscribers I like to let them know my projects like way before everyone else. It's like a little perk. I was like, I posted it. Some of you might have noticed. I posted it. I deleted it because I was like, wait, I should draw something. I should have an image along with the announcement. So I drew this in like 2 seconds. I'm not even kidding. I drew it in 3 seconds, and then I'm lying. I drew it in 5 seconds, and then I just posted it real quick. Hello, game modets, modets. Modits. Is it Modits? I'm sorry if I'm butchering the name. Okay, so anyways, quick Spider-Man sketch, quick Venom sketch. And then I was working. At work. I did this one. Wait, I did this one in the last live. So if you stuck around to the end of the last live, I did like a bonus drawing. And so I did that, and then at work one of these days, I think it was Tuesday, I was just a machine cranking them out. I got Green Goblin, Hobgoblin, Wolverine, Mysterio, Shocker, but I didn't put the details on Shocker when I drew him because I kind of wanted to do my own little design of him, like kind of mixing a couple of designs. Specifically to come up with this design for him, I combined elements of the original Shocker from the comics, Shocker from Spectacular Spider-Man with like the goggles, and elements of like the practical elements of the Amazing Spider-Man 2 game. Ghost Rider, Iron Man, all in like one sitting at work. I was just chilling there, pumping all these out. Iron Man, Captain America. I'm gonna draw like the scale mail, but I drew it like little circles, like kind of like the hexagon look, kind of more realistic, but kind of echoing the scales. But I'll do that in pen. Daredevil. And I did all of those on that one sitting at work. And then today at work, I did Silver Surfer. He took he was so fast. I drew him probably like 5 seconds. And when I ink it, I'm gonna put like space and stars. I don't know if I'm just gonna go full black ink and then stars with white ink, or if I want to experiment, maybe add a little bit of purple, get some of that cosmic element, maybe get something Kirby-esque. Hello, Jay Heron, Angelic Ocampolosi. I probably butchered your name. I'm so sorry. I also drew the Thing. I did this today. So these are smoking hot. Scream and Agent Venom. I think that's the last one I did before I left work. Yes. So you're probably wondering, where's the lizard? That's one of the ones you always draw. And where's regular Spider-Man? I was like, oh, I'll save those for the lives. So we'll do that now. So, and then I think I'll draw a few. We'll knock them out, pencil, and then maybe we'll ink some of those other ones. So I also wanted to do a different Venom too. I wanted to do Matt Gargan Venom as well. I think that would be fun. So let's start off with the lizard. Should we do the lizard first? Yeah, I started the lizard. It really looks like him. Let's zoom in for you guys. Someone out here is probably doubting me. Like, no way he drew that in 5 seconds. This is more complex than Venom, but if it was Venom, I'd be done with that in 5 seconds. If only my comics came out this fast. So I'm hoping the whole thing with the ACOs and eBay and the bids, I'm hoping that kind of helps me make a little more side cash. Um, as I can continue to fund my comics, my own personal work. So I was just thinking about it. I'm like, ACOs stand for art cards, editions, and collectibles. Just randomly mentioning that, just in case anyone doesn't know. Although I didn't even have to say that. When this posts up later, your comments don't show up on it, so I could like pretend I could be answering a question and no one will say anything. Because right now we only got like 3 views, right? So maybe 3 people will be like, "What the hell is he answering?" But if anyone's watching like the re-upload, they may think someone just asked me a question and be like, "So, just answering this question here, when making the Liberator, I think he was one of my favorite characters at the time because I had to just keep drawing this character over and over. And that's how I knew I had a good character when I didn't mind drawing them over and over. I never got sick of drawing the Liberator. And, as a kid, drawing certain characters, there were times where I kind of got tired of drawing characters, drawing certain characters. And my moods would change too, as far as like my interests, my fixations. I'd be like all into like Transformers. You'd think I was like the top Transformers fan. And then like on the switch of a dime, I'd be like, I'm in a Star Wars mood right now, or I'm in a Marvel mood. And I always worried about that in my life in self analysis. I was like, am I too like flaky? Like I love it. Don't get me wrong. Like I could talk for hours about whatever it is I'm interested in. But I was always scared that as a kid, I was like, what if I can't stick to one thing? What if I'm always wanting to like switch my interest? Like, what if I start one of my comics and then I'm like in the mood to draw like knights or mechas or something? So I ran out of ink. I mean, lead. So I'm just gonna refuel, reloading. Let's put 3 in here. My depth perception. Ah, okay. Oh, I broke it. Damn it. Okay. Okay. Are we back in business? No. What the heck? I'm having some technical issues with my pencil. And I'm pretty hungry too. I just like my stomach felt it. Why is it not staying? That's weird. Look at this. I was just using the pencil like a few minutes ago. Uh, I'll check on my pencil in a bit, but the show must go on. So You're gonna have to sit this one out, pencil. We're gonna go back to the OG before I replaced it with that one. Where's my OG pencil that I was using before? Oh, I could have sworn I had it on my desk. I let my little brother use it. I wonder if he. I would assume he'd give it back. Okay. Fine. I'll just use this one. Not that it matters, right? So I'll use this eraser to clean up some of my stray pencils. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I've been just saying "Have a nice weekend" like all the time, and it's. I'd like to say that on like Fridays because then people get happy. It's like, oh yeah, it's Friday, whatever. But I've just been saying it like it'd be like Monday and or Tuesday or something, and then people will be like, all right, see you, Jake. Have a nice day, and I'll be like, all right, have a nice weekend. It's fucking it's Monday. I say it's weekend, and then I'm like, oh damn. I mean, have a nice day, and then by then they like left. All right, so there's a lizard if I've ever seen one. I think he kind of looks pretty cool. Over the week, Monday. In my defense, my schedule's always messed up. So I sometimes there would be days where I come into work on a Friday all week, like not have been at work, and then I come in on a Friday, so it feels like Monday to me. But then everyone's in a good mood, so I know it's Friday. I love how people just be in a good mood on Fridays. I think I'm more talkative on Fridays too at work. And then I come in on Monday and I'm like to myself, quiet. I'm like fake. I'll be like, all right, yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Nah, yeah, tell me about it on Monday. I'll talk to you Monday. And then Monday comes and people talk to me. I'm like, who are you? What are you talking to me for? Nah, I'm kidding. I like when people talk to me, but sometimes I get a little like, I'm like dead because I like get called in like before I have to, you know, before I got any sleep. So I'll be going into work with like an hour, no, an hour or 2 hours of sleep. I'll be like timing it. I'm like, well, if I go to sleep now, I could get 2 hours sleep, and then I go to bed, and then like every second, I'm like losing my timer that I had perfectly, like still awake, tossing and turning, and I'm like, no, I'm having less than 2 hours now. I took my time a little bit on this lizard, than some of the other ones because it's a lizard. I got it. I think he looks kind of cool. All right, another one. And I was saying, as all of these are kind of close up, I was like, what if I do like a full body one, and that could be um for Spider-Man. Now it's gonna be small because look at the size of these cards. But let me just sign this real quick. Okay. Uh, I want to change the teeth over here. I kind of want to draw those how I've been drawing them lately. Be a little consistent with my design. So then maybe people will be like, oh, that's how Jake draws the lizard. A little recognition there. Huh? And then I'll leave these pink. So it's like the gums over the teeth, kind of like a snake. All right. Put them in the batch. Welcome to the family. Oh yeah. So I said Spider-Man. Let me take a sip of my drink. Let's see if I can fit him in these dimensions. I'm gonna kind of. I want him to feel very dynamic, so I'm gonna have him kind of looking down. Let's say we bring one shoulder up, one shoulder down. Uh, I'm just trying to fit him in this whole side of the card, and so I'll give a little thought process slash. I don't want to say tutorial, but explain my process and thoughts and design when doing this. So one of the things you can do if you really don't find that you don't have a lot of space to fit like a whole body, uh, one thing you can do is you can get in some like extremely like forced perspective. Look at this. Just put his arm in here, and now that's taking up all the space here. As soon as web, look at him. And then I erase the parts that are being overlapped. Okay. If that's not clear enough that it's Spider-Man, let's go ahead and add these eyes. All right. Let's see. Now, I do kind of want this to be like more of the body. So let's see, how can we twist him in a way that can fit? Maybe bring one leg up. It's a little tricky because, like I said, I don't have space. I would want to have his arm over here. I'm also keeping in mind tangents. I'm gonna give him a more tightened hand instead of a more relaxed hand, so we can get a feeling that he's probably pulling on his web. It's just an ACO. It doesn't have to go that hard. It doesn't have to be too complex for an ACO. Let's get my eraser so I can clean this up a little bit. So we may not get his entire body because of the pose I settled on. If I really wanted to, I could, but I think this. I also want to draw what wants to be drawn. And I feel like this pose is kind of calling. You know, sometimes you lay down the pencil a certain way and you're like, whoa, that's a little different than I initially planned, but I can see something out of it. I can carve out a different form and pose out of that now. I'm glad you think so, Kaylee. I was like, oh, uh, I see we have people watching, so I'm like, oh, okay, I guess we just have a quiet bunch. I'm like, is this thing on? And we can bring the web. I'm gonna leave this place open for my signature. So let's bring the web maybe about here. And let's maybe bring out the bottom of his foot. Going more extreme with my poses here. All my pencils are acting up today. I think I should move this foot over, but we may not see it. But I'm doing whatever feels natural to this. So if I bring that foot here, have it extended, bring that out. Okay, that feels a little more anatomically feasible. I'm a pretty big stickler for anatomy. At least that I can it doesn't have to be perfect, but like I I have to make sense of it. But in other people's artwork, it doesn't bother me as much as my own. So I could love Todd McFarlane's work, I could love Rob Liefeld's work, and those characters could have like no bones. And I'm like, I love the artwork. It's so energetic. And then when it comes to me drawing, I want to have energetic stuff too, but I'm like, nah, he's got to have bones though. Hello, Dave. I was showing our uh the cards that I was working on with the Marvel characters and just adding some in. Trying to fit Spider-Man's legs in this little tiny card is kind of proving a little trickier than I initially went in. I was like, I got this. And then I'm like, oh wait, hold on a second. That's what I get for showing off, but it's not about uh, you know, the it's about how you finish. There you go. Somebody quote that. And happy early birthday, Dave. Hopefully you got something special planned. So even though the ACOs need to be like, well, they don't need to be, but ideally it should be like simple. I just wanted to challenge myself a little bit and have one kind of dynamic and crazy. I was actually gonna draw when I said I wanted to draw Spider-Man full body, I was gonna draw him way smaller, but I have a vision with this pose here that I thought would look kind of cool. Because all the other characters, we only really can see their like, their bust. And so with a character like Spider-Man, who's always like contorted and twisted up, um, like why not utilize that? Okay, so his spine is gonna go here. I heard something about my family talking about getting me the UC's Death Star for how good I've been doing in school. Now you just gotta make sure you forget. Try to forget that, because then if you don't get it, then you're gonna be like, dang. Hello, Caramel Girl. How much I love Star Wars and Lego Star Wars. Get some detail on the hands, so it's time to draw the fingers. When I was, like, let me think before I speak. When I was, like, thinking about, like, YouTube and stuff like that, like, years ago, uh, almost 10 years ago, like, 2016, I was like, "You know what? What if I make, like, a YouTube channel and, you know, I'll do some videos to kinda help bring attention to, like, my comics and stuff." And, I was inspired watching, like, YouTubers and things like that, and I'm like, "Alright, that sounds kinda cool." Um, and one of the things that I was kinda scared of actually with drawing, um, on YouTube and stuff was I was always kind of worried that, someone would be like, "That's not how you do it, that's wrong," or, "That's not how you draw this," or "That looks terrible." And so I used to think, okay, what I would do to combat that is I'll just write how I draw, like how I draw Spider-Man instead of like how to draw. And that was one of the things that I, thought about because who wants like criticism and criticism really. I think a lot of people were scared to like post their stuff, and my idea of YouTube back then was also like there's probably like a lot of people just looking to hate and stuff, but I still want to post my work. Um, the me now, you know, uh, I think I've overcome some of those fears because one, art is pretty subjective, and two, you don't if you're not happy with your art, if you're not comfortable with your art, you can learn and focus on the areas you're struggling with. You don't have to stay bad at drawing hands or faces or whatever. Now it takes a long ass time, but you can learn it and you can practice it and get better. So for me, faces were one of the things that I struggled the most with, and I'm still improving. I'm only just like finally starting to see like my character's like legs, especially like the knee area. I feel like I've improved dramatically on that versus what I was doing like 2016. So it is it's a good feeling when you see that you're starting to improve. But I would say don't worry too much about, people trying to correct you and stuff. Because at the end of the day, it is just an interpretation. Try your best. Love your style and don't settle, you know. So you don't always have to defend your work too. If someone's hating on it and they're like, "Oh, like how can he sit with legs like that?" And you'd be like, "I know, right?" you know. And what are they gonna say? What are they gonna say after that? But I think also, you know, now that I started doing I had always thought about doing like art education kind of like as a backup kind of thing. And for that you really do kind of have to know how to explain the process and really teach something to someone. And when I started the lives, people would be telling me like, "Oh, you taught me this really good and better than I've learned in school." And I'm like, "Okay, that might be a good thing because if I'm going for like art teacher and stuff like that, I might be kind of good at that. Maybe I'll do that when I'm too old to dream. I'll be a teacher." Hello, little dog. Okay, just a question. For you, should I try going to college after high school? I've been thinking of trying engineering. Uh, I would suggest that if the best time to go into college would be after high school because um you have already like done a lot of work in high school. When you're young, there's your brain's kind of like a sponge and it's taking in a lot of information, and school gives you a lot of work. And so you keep that kind of strong as far as your ability to handle, the workload and read. books, like lots of books and stuff like that in a relative short amount of time. But like the longer you're out of school and not actively doing that kind of stuff, you know, it becomes harder to jump back into it. And also certain things that might be a transferable skill, like some of the math stuff that, might be uh fresher in your head if you do. So I would say it's best to go into college right after. It's definitely never too late to go back to college or start college, but it's definitely easier to, especially like those common core classes, definitely better to just knock those out like right after uh high school. Maybe do like a community college 2-year school, so that way you can stop there, get an associate's degree, and then maybe transfer to like a 4-year school. Okay. Just reading the comments. You were the reason why I learned how to be more comfortable drawing full body art, even if it looked bad at first. Everyone started bad at first. You think mines were any good? My full body art is terrible, and I used to draw it a lot. If you see any of my old Spider-Man or old Star Wars drawings when I was a kid, you can really see how far I've come. And it was so bad that I never even like had the prospect of being a professional because I was like, I can't draw people. I can only draw like dinosaurs and robots and you know things like that when I was a kid. So I always thought like there's no way I could really be a professional if I can't even draw a human. But to be realistic, honestly, drawing people are harder than and drawing that stuff because it's like there's a lot more that you have to do when drawing a person, and also people are more privy to seeing if something's off. You don't have to be an artist to see that the hand is off or the face is a little weird. You may not be able to identify what looks off about it, but you are naturally designed to tell what a human body looks like. One, through your familiarity of your own body, and two, the people around you. When you draw a person, you have to think about the pose, you have to think about the clothes, you have to think about, specific areas like hands and faces and the facial features and the muscles. It's a lot of work and it takes a lot of time. You have to give each section, you know, the proper time to really, focus on it. Like, you can't tell me I want to learn how to draw people better and spend like a month drawing people, and you may improve. You will improve if you draw people every day for a month, but you need direction. You need to see what you're doing. You need to see the proportions. You need to see focus on eyes for like a month. Focus on the nose for like a month, or maybe even just a week. But also too, just the more you draw, the more familiar you get the hang of something like, tilting the arm a different way and, you know, how it turns. And you're like, well, when I move my arm like this, my muscles, pop out in this way. So that's what my arm will look. I'm kidding. One day, one day. Can you make me mod? Are you Jesse? You gotta be J Dog, right? Nice little cat. Nice cat, Lily. Got a tabby cat. It was my sister's. I was watching it. Oh, so that's the profile. 17 cops pulled up to a school activity and kids pulled out guns and cops three arrested, one in the hospital. That's crazy. That was your school? Or are you just reporting the news? That's terrible, though. Okay. Yes, I'm glad to help with that, Dave. Especially depending on and this would be like, think about what job you want, and then you can kind of reverse engineer it there. So some people are like, "Oh, I don't know what to do for college." I say, "Don't think about college. Think about the end result." And college is stepping stones to get you there. So I saw one of my classmates, one of my friends were kind of worried about, seeing their friends graduate and stuff like that. And I'm like, you can't compare yourself when it comes to college. It's not linear like like high school is. Cuz high school you're still a kid and you're still dependent on your parents and you're your parents' responsibility. And everyone kind of all started off with a similar kind of launch point. But when you're in college, things happen, some people get kids, some people need to, fend for themselves and live on their own and have jobs and you know everyone has a different journey at that point. So you really have to think about it like this. Don't look at college like other people playing the same game, right? And looking at your completion. I'm explaining in Fortnite terms. Don't look at the battle pass. I'm gonna explain in Fortnite terms. Don't look at someone and be like, oh man, they're a tier 50. I'm only a tier like 20. But here's the thing. That guy's not playing Fortnite. That guy's playing Halo. So you're playing a different game, Don't compare the battle pass. You got to think about what you want. And so, certain things there's trades and stuff like that. And some people are just fine with no college if they take like a trade and something like that. Cuz as good as college can be and enriching for you academically and maybe philosophically and also like testing out new things that you like that you didn't know you wouldn't like otherwise or the social elements of meeting new people in college and stuff like that. Who has thousands of dollars just to throw away? No, that's a genuine question. I want to be friends with you. Send me send me a DM. I if I get a small loan of $10,000, I will. That's a Kickstarter right there. No, but in all seriousness, what was I saying? Who just has that money lying around? So to just do college and not have that direction, I would say then just focus. If you're really going into college with no direction, I would say focus on the core stuff. Things that can be transferable credits and things like that, like certain math classes or certain writing classes. Maybe if it's like a writing intensive. What I did was I would look for classes that can knock out two requirements at once. So it'd be like I need a English class that is, this number, but I also need a writing intensive class. So I would take an English class that doubled. And so that's how I was able to kind of stack my classes up and things like that. Way back. Way back in like 2015, 2016, 2017. I just finished my last class this Wednesday. So I'm done with college. Unless it turns out I'm missing a class and I would cry. It would be the manliest tears you've ever seen. I'll do it on stream. People will be like, "Oh no, why is he crying? Is this an apology video? What do you do? I missed the chapter." No, I swear. I had a poor lapse in judgment. What happened? It's like, I didn't check if I was missing the class. Oh, he clicks off the video. What is this rage bait, uh, clickbait ass shit? No, but yeah, that's my college thoughts on that. I liked college. I feel weird not being in school anymore. Being done with school. It hasn't even been a week since I finished, but I mean, like the thought of being done is weird to me. But that's the good thing about like being able to work in like a school environment for me. It's never really truly gone. I guess school's all I've known really, and I really do really value intelligence and knowledge and learning and stuff. So I like it. I like that stuff. I respect it a lot. Okay. Currently working on perspective. That's good. That's also a necessity, especially if you want to do comic books. Uh, I always say I call it the three P's: perspective, proportions, and posing. That's what you need to master, and then that's how you know you're ready to do a comic book. Because those are like the main things you're gonna need to be doing when doing comics. The best thing about drawing characters, people, is that you can make them however you like, as long as you said showing like the hands. So yeah, like cartooning. You know what I mean? I just want to make his head a little bit bigger. And that goes into also the discussion of style. You can have an art style, it doesn't have to be photographic. It'd be boring if everyone had the same style. No one would stand out either. So, um, what I have to say though is just don't, you know, call like a limitation your style, because then you'll never grow. You'll never like improve beyond that limitation. And you secretly know if you could draw different, you would. If you could draw something better, you could be like, "Oh, that's just how I draw hands." But I know damn well deep inside, if you could draw hands like someone else or better, you would. And so that's how you know if it's your style or not. If you just love it and you just got those rose tinted glasses and you're like, "Yeah, that's it." All right. So I think this Spider-Man is kind of in. It's kind of done. I spent way longer than I intended on it, but whoever buys this is gonna be a happy camper. Hopefully, they're gonna, you know, if they're paying money, especially if it's bidding and they end up paying more than the original like start price. I want them to feel like it was worth it. Let me actually put this web behind his hand because his hand's all the way in the foreground. So subconsciously, I accidentally drew it in the foreground. For anyone who was watching, like, why is that there? I wonder if anyone was being bothered by that. Someone caught that little mistake there. You know what I should say? Actually, I should have said that was a test. If no one caught that, you guys are not paying attention. Okay. Okay. Let's keep reading. Got me started on making my own comic books, and every time my friends uh from me, I just been saving up. Buy them from you? You're selling them? Or I don't know if that was a typo because it says but I think you mean buy. But I'm glad to hear that, and I'm grateful. I love hearing when people are like, "Oh, you gave me a little motivation to move on something." Now the real question is, should this be black costume Spider-Man or should this be classic Spider-Man? Originally gonna do classic Spider-Man with like the pose and stuff, but before I put all the webs and anything, it kind of looks kind of cool, just like this. It's like black costume Spider-Man. Yes, yes, okay. And it was your school. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm glad you're safe though, Jesse. If you're still here, I know I need to catch up on the comments. I am reading everyone's comments. You said that there was an important improvement to my drawing. Yes, I did. I noticed that today. We need more positive people. Of course, of course. It doesn't hurt anyone to be, uh, you know, kind to someone else. On the topic of art, it also doesn't set you back. It doesn't slow your progress or your improvement. It doesn't give you more competition to just compliment another artist's artwork. But that little compliment can maybe boost how they feel or, you know. But also, I've been seeing your drawings a lot because you do the homebrew characters, so I do see your art a lot more than I see most people's art. So I am watching an active growth, and I have given you some advice in the past. I think I've also when I did the critique days with the tablet, I think I've drawn some of yours and fixed up some of the stuff that needed a little work. And one of my biggest things that I noticed in your artwork back then that you struggled with was more of the core and kind of measuring the core of the body, like the waist and the stomach area and the crotch, kind of all was a little bit not enough room for all of those organs to be, uh, you know, to be there. And I'm seeing that you've gotten a lot better on that. So you've taken my critique, taken my advice, and you applied it, and I think that's one of the best things we can do as artists is take advice and critique and not just be like, man, what does he know? I only showed my artwork so he can glaze it on the stream. Like what does he know? Uh you know what I mean? So to take critique and also not look at your artwork and be like, oh, I didn't notice this before. Now I can't hang it on my wall because now I don't see it the same. Now I see it's imperfect. Art oftentimes is imperfect. So you have to, look past certain things and love the drawing for what it is. And as I get older in my old age, I am noticing that, you build up this like stockpile of just a lot of artwork and you start to let's say Spider-Man, for example. I've drawn Spider-Man hundreds of times. So if I have one bad Spider-Man drawing, I don't look at it with like the test and I'm just like, oh, that's the ugliest Spider-Man I've ever drawn. Sometimes I'm like, oh, it doesn't look that good. But what I do see it is for what it was, it's like it's growth, and maybe I could show that to someone who's struggling or thinks they can't draw. And I can show them that ugly Spider-Man and be like, look how I used to draw. If I'm being honest, Jake is the only YouTuber I go a little too far talking about my life. I appreciate that. I've noticed that sometimes people are more willing to talk and um, be a little personal. I will say with the YouTube lives, these are being reposted. Um, so whatever you feel comfortable sharing, just know it will be up on YouTube for a bit. But not for it'll be up there for pretty much forever unless I take it down for whatever reason. But on the TikTok lives, those don't get reposted or anything. So sometimes people would be very open and stuff like that. And I think it's the if I had a guess, I'd say, in retrospect and analysis, I the way I approach it is I'm not talking to like subscribers or your followers or fans or followers. I said that twice. Customers, I meant to say. I like to think of it like I'm just like talking to I have like two mindsets, either like talking to students or talking to like friends, and maybe like in that mode I shift, between listening to someone's problems, I'm more in like a friend or advisor kind of mindset or as far as people talking to me about their artwork, I go into more of a teacher mindset. And I know that each and every person watching is like a human being. So I would never just like brush them off or, you know, say something or take a jab at anyone or anything like that. And, I'm grateful you guys are even watching. Like, look at we have 6 people. It's more than usual, and I'm happy for it. But we're far from like, a big following or anything. So I'm grateful that anyone's even watching my stuff. Okay, and I love the community. That's one of the fun things about it being so small too, is like seeing you guys. I'm reading your comments right now, saying hi to each other and stuff. I love seeing that you guys, know each other's names or at least usernames and talking to each other. And for anyone who's popping in, we do have a Discord channel too. So I really love that idea too. That like if the lives are canceled or whatever, people can still be kind of talking to each other, up to date on projects and when I'm going live and the next live and stuff like that. Really got a sense of community there. I was gonna put this here, but I feel it's a little too close to the edge, so let me not put that there. Oh, the webs. Okay, I think that's Spider-Man's done. I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna move on to the next card, but I just want to read the comments. I want to catch up on the comments before I start drawing and start talking about something else. Okay. Okay, okay. Let me see how far down. Okay, I'll address that. Read that in a second. Probably not gonna talk much on this live again. Yes, that's good drawing minion. Okay, okay, okay. Uh, listen to live like a podcast. Sometimes I feel like in a podcast when I'm talking, I'll be holding on to like the thing that the phone is attached to. Okay. What about the fourth P? Promotion. Yes, that's the honorary P. Okay. Okay. Jesse had left. I didn't get to say bye. I wished we had the pinned messages like that the TikTok lives had. I only draw anime. Hello, Durin. Are you still here? I know I read the comments late. If anyone sees anyone new, like not a regular, just let him know. He does read all the comments. He just reads everyone's comment. But I feel bad because someone would probably think, oh, this guy's not even gonna read my comment. He's been yapping for like 10 minutes about something else. I would it would help if people let them know that I will get to them. But Durin, if you are here, you said you only draw anime. Do you make your own characters or are you only doing like fan art? I'm sure you do fan art, but do you make your own characters as well, is what I'm asking. And by drawing a lot of anime and stuff like that, you do get a sense of these different art styles that you can bring into your own character. Learning to draw from other art is also just smart, you know what I mean? Um, Draw from life, I agree, but also draw from artists because what is art? Art is a 2D render of a 3D world, an expression. And, there's certain things that are not in real life that an artist kind of brings to a drawing. And, maybe you'll learn a technique or something that an artist does that you're like, oh, I really like the way they do that. Let me add that to my work. Let me sign these real quick. Oh, I didn't sign that one. Okay. Speaking of signing, uh I mentioned before I recently started doing signatures with chisel tip markers. I found that to be very fun and I like the end result of it. And I was coming home from Staples the other day. From Staples. I was coming home from work the other day and I went to Staples and I got some chisel markers that I'm excited to use when I start signing these cards. The back of them. When I put all the information and stuff. Okay. Let me get another card loaded up. Should I draw? Yes. We have a little art studio drawing. And Caramel Girl, what you could do is even if you don't know what to draw, you could just start doodling, gestures, getting a feel for form and practicing and loose drawing, Don't worry about like being perfect or fixing things. Sometimes if you just want to jump into a drawing, it's about the expression. It's like just singing a song without worrying about being, concert level good. You know what I mean? That's how I like to describe it. Just been selling them to save money. And that's smart, Dave, doing that little hustle there and then saving as well. That's a great skill. We did on the last live, yes. The Wampa drawing. I'll show that. I'll show that here. For anyone who missed that live, I did a Wampa drawing, and we had Dave guess what Star Wars character, as Dave is our resident Star Wars expert. And I was very cruel and didn't put the horns to the last second. So gruelingly watched him try to guess what it was. That was my fault. But and then Minion had asked how we can draw something like a speedy monster to give the impression that it's fast or quick or speedy. I forgot the exact prompt or question. And I restocked on like alcohol markers. And so with me doing these cards and I will be coloring them, I will be using more of those alcohol markers. So that's really fun. When I was at Staples, so here are the Sharpies. So it's always good to have the black ones for, basic stuff. Maybe, I don't know. Blue, I don't know what I would use that for, but who knows? Maybe if I sign like a Liberator one, maybe I'll use blue or something. I don't know. I don't know. Green, that's the one I typically sign with. And then red, when it's like a single, I'll often sign with red. So you kind of know it's like, oh, it's special. It's like one of a kind. But for these cards, I'm going to be doing green for two reasons. One, uh, I don't want to oversaturate the red and make the red not feel special anymore by all of them being singles, because all ACOs are kind of singles for the most part. Uh, and a single basically means like one of one. And also, two, it's the ACOs will oftentimes not be my characters. Like Spider-Man is owned by Marvel, obviously, not Graveyard Comics. So I kind of want to, special treatment for my own kids. You know what I mean? I have another idea with some marker stuff, but I don't know if I want to talk about that yet. Um, and then I also got this little stand here, this little easel. And so I think what I'll do when I'm like showcasing my ACOs when they finish is I'm gonna record it on a little easel, kind of like have it on display. Let's zoom out. Shit. Okay. We're in top down view, but imagine it. Can you see my vision? Look how cool that looks. I just wish this wasn't so splintery. I'm gonna out here get like impaled, but that's the plan. That's the moves. Okay. 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 Yes, it's nighttime, but it's good. Have a great day, night. That's why I always say good night. It's because it's nighttime somewhere. So that's why I say good night, specters. It's always nighttime somewhere. And most of the time that I'm awake, it's already night anyway. I'm normally not around for the morning time. So I'm normally not there to say good morning. And when I do say good morning, I'm often met with the same reaction. Good morning. And then I have to hit them with the Einstein said time is relative. More of an advisor and someone who understands some Star Wars stuff to talk to. Yes, of course, Dave. And I'm glad that we got to meet. And I'm glad to meet so many people and their different personalities and interests. And I do try my best to remember a good amount of things. I remember when I first started doing the lives, people would tell me like, "Oh, my name's this," like their actual name instead of their username. And it took me a while, but I tried my best to remember their actual names. Can't wait to draw more Dead Liberty homebrew stuff. I like seeing them as well. Okay. Yes, yes. Okay, I'm just reading the comments. I'll see if I can fit it in, Dave. I just want to knock out a few of these. That did well. Can't talk. That's the last Spider-Man one really did slow me down a little bit, but I do have a couple more things I wanted to do. I think we'll do Carnage for this one. Okay, just reading the comments, trying to catch up. I haven't stopped making minis. Made three so far. It take me 3 hours to pose in colors. What do you mean minis? Like mini figures? Oh, the Hero Forge. That's that thing where you can make custom miniatures. Okay, that makes sense. I think that's what you're talking about. It's so cute. my little my little easel, is that what you're talking about, Kaylee? Oh, it's not cute when I get that splitter. I see it happening. This wood is terrifying. I really don't like the way it looks like that. Oh, look at the way it landed like that. Bottle flipped it. Hello, Ruby. Uh, what are you gonna paint? Well, um, I will be coloring them, but I'll be coloring them with alcohol markers. So drawing them with pencil, then I'll go with ink over the details and color them with the alcohol markers. So I'm a comic book artist, and right now I'm going to be doing some ACEOs of Marvel characters that I'm planning to put on eBay and start that bidding at $15 per card. I think just to get a little side hustle to help me fund some of my projects with my own comics. I do have a free to read comic series as well. That is called Nadir Archives, and you can read that for free on the Graveyard Comics Facebook page or on my TikTok. I have it in the playlist Nadir Archives. I have some published books as well, um, namely my Dead Liberty series and my Blood Hunt series. But here's some of the Marvel drawings I've been doing. Ooh, let's see. So I draw them really fast when it comes to like pencils. It's the inking part that kind of takes me a while. Inking's kind of slow. And now that I use alcohol markers instead of color pencils, that also makes it way faster. And I feel like it has a more solid look too. I just really like the way that looks. We did the lizard on the beginning of this live. We just finished this one, and we're about to do a quick carnage. Oh, I wonder how many I can stack on the little easel. Maybe I'll just put that there to store these here. Oh, nice. You guys can't see it, but all right. But then the text is here, and you can't see. Let me move this out of the way. I think I missed one of Dave's comments. I will address that. I'll read it. Where was it? The comics are like a group of engineers in space in a little ship, a little sci-fi, but they get sucked in a black hole. But it's not dangerous. One that takes them to the past. Oh, interesting. That's very interesting because it sounds like you're playing with like time dilation and stuff like that. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. So like these are called sketch cards in comic book terms and trading card stuff. What I typically do is sketch cards. So ACO is a more colloquial term that a lot of things that the art community is doing. I still call them sketch cards because I'm treating them like sketch cards versus just like painting like scenery and things like that. They're comic book themes, figure drawing stuff like that. So I'm still much more sketch card. You know, while I'm not affiliated with Tops, if anyone's collecting some of those Chrome Marvel, maybe one of my cards might go well with them in your binder. Okay, but is it Tops that's doing Marvel Chrome? I think it's Tops. Anyways, what was I saying? I was saying something. Oh, I do sketch cards and sketch covers with Dynamite Comics. So these ACOs and these Marvel cards that I'm currently working on are kind of my own thing, my own little side hustle that I'm about to start. So this is my first time doing like ACOs in the proper sense of like eBay and all that. So I never even had an eBay account. Then the first time I ever heard of eBay was Transformers with the glasses. Are you ladies man 217? I know just how I describe the books. It sounds like some little kid shit, but I will add some more stuff to them. Yeah, no, of course. It's just the base idea. I realized that for Fahrenheit, she would have to special suit uniform that can support her abilities so she can combust in flames and control them. In the universe of Dead Liberty, we do have characters that do have fire retardant suits. The pyros of the radical forces. So as far as like home brewing and there could be elements of that you could play with because if you wanted to play with that being that it's a homebrewed character for this world. um yeah, just spitballing. Okay, all right, let's get started. Let's knock out a quick one. Let's draw them real quick. When I wanted to do something earlier fast and I took too long, so we're gonna make this one actually fast. Check this out. Maximum carnage. Just rounding out his head a little bit. And we could give him his like tendrils. And then I'll just go in, clean out some of the stray pencils. So when I say, how long was that? I should have timed myself. When I say I'm drawing these in like 5 seconds, should have timed myself. Obviously, some of the other ones I take a little longer than that because I kind of want to make it look more accurate. Some of them take me a minute because I'm like, let me find a design that I designed for like Captain America, and I have to go back to like my old posts and see how I designed them. Stuff to them, add some stuff to them. Virus, but it's just this example. A little sneak peek. I can tell this drawing will be peak. Was it? Did it live up to it? I should ask for a commission, but that would complete a part of my Jake Grave bingo card. That would all I have to do is buy Blood Hunt at this point. I still got to put Blood Hunt on the ebook formatting. But thank you for reminding me that. I forgot to do that. What do you think of the ideas Would you like to add any to it? When I think as far as like adding ideas and things like that, I think it's more so in the term of context. Like to just randomly, come up with something out of the blue and be like, you should add this. I don't know if that's all that helpful, if I'm honest, because I think you have to think what the story wants. And, you know, I I could say things that I like and stuff like that, as far as like stories that, kind of focus on a character or deeper on a deeper level. There's things that I do like to see. There's things like aliens and stuff like that that I think are really cool. And then, if we're talking about aliens, there's a lot that I have to say as far as like things that I like to see in aliens and things I don't like to see in aliens. I cannot stand when aliens just look like humans. It really is annoying to my brain. Um, but so it depends on like the story, what we're talking about, and what feels like natural to the story. And I'm like, oh, that's a good jumping point.
Transferred to University of Phoenix. They made the process simple, and since I didn't have to repeat work I'd already done, I earned my points faster. Transfer your eligible credits and keep your momentum. Some people might give you one pizza for
I hate when Carnage is just all red. I always loved that he was like red and black because it like showed a deviation from the symbiote. It still had its roots in the symbiote being, the symbiote was black. And whether it was Carnage having it injected into his bloodstream or drinking it, the fact that it was not like we are Venom, like it was like he's an individual. And that's one of the things that kind of makes Carnage so like terrifying in the sense that he's just this insane person and he doesn't suffer from that caveat of being two individuals. And that's one of the fun things about Venom, and I always thought that was cool you know, when I was a kid and he was like, "We are Venom." And I was like, "Oh, that's a novel idea. I didn't hear about that, when I was younger. I didn't Now everyone is like Venom." But when I was a kid, Venom was like the only one that was like, "We are more than one individual." And I thought that was a really cool creative idea. And that's one of the fun things when making a character and you have something designed a certain way, and then you can make like a similar thing branching off of it that doesn't have it. And that may seem more generic, but in the context of the original framing, it now is more unique and it makes something that would have been generic cooler. Because let's say Carnage being one individual, that's kind of generic. Most people only are one individual, Uh, but in the context of a symbiote that is like one individual, that is cool because it sets them apart. Uh, in Halo terms, we had the Covenant, and they were all about their zealotry. And then when you have the Banished, what's cool about them is like they don't have like all this rigid kind of structure and to the same degree. And arguably that's what makes the Covenant so cool. Otherwise it's kind of just random, like, oh, the Banished taken humans and grunts and they don't care. They only care about strength. It's so basic. But in the context in comparison to the Covenant, it now feels fresh. So I'm hoping that I made sense when I gave those examples. I hope uh, that was a good example of what I'm getting at. Let's get them a little crazier. Let's bring these in. I had a cough there. Okay, let me take a sip of my drink. And we got Carnage in here. I kind of want to take another step into the eyes here. Let's make them just a little more jagged. There we go. I think that looks kind of cool. I think what I'm gonna do is find a random pose, and whatever pops in my head, I'm gonna draw. Yes, and play around with it. You know, think about the forms and simplifying the forms, and you can like manipulate the body into a pose that you want once you know the form. Going back to Carnage real quick, I also like when he has like the black symbiote kind of forming like a rib cage kind of look to it. And I like when this part of his face is like all black. It's just like strong contrast. Hello, Mystery. I'm all right. Uh, I'm excited to be showing these ACEOs that I'm doing. So I'm doing a Marvel theme with them. I'll take a flip through 'em. All right. I think I want to reattempt doing a more simple pose. Well, not simple. A smaller pose for Spider-Man swinging that doesn't take up the whole card, just so we can see the full body. Because originally that's what I wanted to do, but I got caught up in kind of making it all more intense. So I'm thinking maybe something like this. And this might be beneficial for you, Caramel Girl, actually. As we're talking about like posing and stuff like that. So I'll just walk through my process here and kind of talk about that. Is it crazy for me to say that I have an idea on how Fahrenheit Fathom? I said Fahrenheit. Fathom delivery homebrew character downfall will play out. No, I was thinking about this earlier today. I was thinking about how as a kid I always thought that a character's death was very much like almost like part of their personality as a character. You know, how they ended up and their eventual end to their story. And I saw that mystery. I'm glad you like it. I will be posting more on there. Whenever I see someone join, I'm like, oh, I gotta post some more. I gotta show them that this is not a dead account. um, but yeah, I do have a free section for the Patreon. Most of the content is free. Uh, Early announcements and stuff like that, I'll put in $3 tier. You know, specific like concept art and things like that. I'll put in $3 tier. If anyone's in the $10, $15 tiers where you get the cards, you will obviously also have access to seeing you know, those early announcements and content. Uh okay, so I have the character's head and I kind of have it at a tilt. I kind of have his shoulders kind of up, so we're not really gonna see much of his neck in here. And then I'm gonna think about his spine. I kind of want him bending forward, and then I think I'm gonna twist it, kind of like at the hip here, and then I think I'm gonna bring, you know, just kind of noodling with it, seeing what I want. I'm kind of twisting it even further, kind of crunching it in. So bring his little butt cheeks up in here. And then maybe bring his leg up in the air. Should I say pause? We have his foot here, as that's kind of up. Oh man, that's in the spot I was gonna do my signature. All right. Okay, I'm seeing it. Let's say we bring this up here, and we'll have one arm kind of like that. Let's get it in the eyes so people know who this is. The Spider-Man. Let's erase some of these stray lines so we don't get confused with the stuff we do want to keep. Maybe I'll do my signature down here for this one. And we can put his hand here. Now, with this forearm kind of facing a little more to us, I'm doing a more circular shape here versus a more horizontal shape that you'd see on the long side of like the forearm. And to kind of break up the form instead of your eye just seeing this straight flat here, I'm gonna also just kink his wrist a little bit. So now your eye gets broken up by this direction here. And then I can go in here and bring in some webs. And so Spider-Man doesn't have a cape, but the webs can give us a sense of movement. I think what I'm going to do is actually, I'm going to bring this web back down. Put in his hand here. And then come back around. And then twist and turn. All right, looks fun. Twisty and webby. I should put, I know you guys probably can't hear it, but I'm going to listen to the Spider-Man theme because I'm listening to, trying Spider-Man stuff. Spider-Man theme. Drawing like these Marvel guys. I gotta be in the mood, you know? I gotta listen to some Spider-Man music while I do it.
Say hello to Sarah Lee Half Loaves. Half loaf, right fit, realize great size, less weight.
So Caramel Girl, since I know this can address to anyone, but Caramel Girl is actively drawing posing stuff right now. So I'm addressing her. If you look here, you know, typically what we might do is just draw a straight line, right? Oh, my leg's here, my thigh, and then my shin. But if you look here, it's a curved line and then another curved line. So C curves. The human body is nice and curvy. So keep in mind the curves when you're drawing, and that will help also have more dynamic feeling to the figures. If you look here, look at the muscles, curves, not just so static and blocky and geometric. You know, we're drawing an organic figure. That can work when you're doing like robots or transformers or something. But for drawing, you know, people, it's pleasant to the eyes. Let's get his foot in here. I actually kind of almost want to bring this in a little more, thinking about the depth. So I don't want it to be too flat. So if this is going more in depth, it'll kind of be shorter. I don't know if I'm explaining that right. trying to foreshorten it is basically what, there you go, foreshortening. I'm shortening it, and that's the point of foreshortening is you shorten something. It's not full length because of the way it's positioned. This eraser is so annoying. I gotta stop using it. The eraser on this pencil here. What is Jake art course? Imagine. I'm like, guys, I'm just gonna be adding a new Patreon tier. We're gonna have art classes every whatever day. We'll go on for like 2 hours. Knowing myself, you get your bang for your buck. Keep going on. Why did that actually sound like a good idea as I was talking out loud? I have my credentials in a few I'm like I just took my last class uh this Wednesday, so I already applied for graduation. I will be having a master's degree in art education. So if anyone's like, "Oh, what can you teach me?" He sucks at explaining things. He's just like kind of good at explaining things. Uh I have industry experience. I am literally a master at art. And I know it sounds like I'm, wow, he's calling himself a master. Tell that to my degree, bro. Okay. That came off a little aggressive. I don't mean it. Bring it in. Internet hug. Sorry. I didn't want to sound like a jackass. I'm sorry. But some things are, and some things ain't. You know what I mean? Rigorously taking note writing and drawing out of some notes. My old art teacher in high school would say, you need to be drawing feverishly. The 2003 New York City smoking ban. Talking about my life, I've been working hard in high school to try and get to a good college. I've just been also after college, after a good job, after a good life. Yeah, I mean, while that's good and that's good that you have that sense of direction, I think you also just, as I was saying before, focus on what you want to do, and then reverse engineer. Think about what you want to do professionally. Think about what you want to do in life. There we go. I'm gonna go on. Let's not call it a rant, but I'm gonna go. I'm gonna talk, so I can draw while I. I'll read the comments once I. But give me a second. I'm gonna be talking for a minute here. I feel it. I feel this one's gonna be long, but maybe I'll finish the drawing while I answer this. But think about what you want to do in life. What do you want to do? What do you like to do? I'm not asking what will make you money, because the things that you want to do oftentimes may not make you money. What's your favorite thing to do in this good earth? Do you want to play sports? Do you want to play music? Do you want to sing? You don't even have to be that good at it. Just tell me what it is that you love to do. And that's your reason. And a fact of life is that we need money. So you do need to also think about a job. And I say when looking for a job, try to find something that does one of these three things. If you can find one that does all three, even better. Find a job that you don't hate doing, because you got to be able to do it all the time and collect your paycheck. Don't do a job that you hate. Find a job that you find vaguely interesting, and that you don't mind clocking in to do it. Find a job in your field. Maybe if you love movies, maybe you want to be something like, look at the end of a movie. When the credits play, you see all those names? Those are all jobs that someone filled out. So, if you really like movies and stuff like that, I'm sure there's something you could probably do. Even if it's like holding a camera, holding a light fixture for there's got to be something, you know. So find something in your field that you like. Um, and then there's also like, education even. Like you can be a teacher in whatever it is, music teacher, dance teacher, teaching artist and stuff like that. So maybe you could go into that field and still be in the environment, whether you're taking classes in college to be a teacher, you're still talking about, artwork or science or whatever it is that you love. It's always at the forefront of, or at least in the theme of what you love to do. So, the other thing, the last point here is find a job that can allow you time, to work on the thing that you like to do. Uh, for me, I thought that being a teacher, at least I can have like summers off and stuff like that, and I can use that time to draw, in the holidays. So, teacher's not a bad route if you're looking at that kind of stuff. So, think about things like that. Think about a job that gives you some free time. Because then some jobs, you're just always busy, and you are busy with being a teacher and lesson plans and drained, and I'm sure. But at least you get like those days off. That most people don't get days off. Um, so considering those things, think about what you love to do. Think about those jobs that I just mentioned that you don't mind doing or that can facilitate you having time to do what you actually love or something within the field of study that you want to do. And once you know that direction of either what job you want or what your dream is, and what job can help you either facilitate that dream or serve as something of a stepping stone or even a backup plan. Now you can decide like what college you kind of want to go to, your master's degree. I mean, your degree, what degree you want in whatever field it is. Bank on that college education, maybe I might do it, but I don't even get people to join the ones where you get cards. So I don't know if it would be. I don't know how it'd feel if I had like one person, and I don't know. It feels weird. I feel like I'd feel bad taking money for them if like we have one Zoom meeting, not even Zoom meeting, whatever it is. However, I do the course. If I did do a course, my one student, Sensei Grave, Professor Grave. That sounds like a multiverse Doctor Doom, or that sounds like an invincible version of like a Marvel character. Ass at singing, but I'm good at doing the drums. But yeah, that's the other thing too. Thank you for reminding me because I did go off track a little bit. You don't have to be that good at it. You just have to love it. Because if you don't have to be good at it, then you don't have to pursue it professionally. And then you can just use whatever job that we talked about as your source of income. But you can still have time to, pursue the thing that you do love for yourself as a hobby. If you like singing and maybe you're not all that good at it, maybe you could look at karaoke or just singing for yourself, sing in the shower or sing with your friends, people who you're not scared to sing in front of. You don't have to be good at it. You just have to like it. You just have to love it. What is the thing that you live for? The thing that you love more than anything. It could even be video games. It could be books. It could be art. It could be, stories that you're invested in. You just love reading and playing video games or watching movies. I just want to know, what do you love to do? Because life is not about working till you're old as shit and then sitting on the couch watching TV until your brain rots away while you spend your retirement that way, or you die before you can even retire. So life is more than just working your fingers to the bone and then keeling over. I truly believe that we have to spend this world being kind to each other and pursuing what we want to do. And the reason why I said being kind to each other is because sometimes people are like, yeah, yeah, I got you, Jake. I'm gonna do what I want to do. And then they just like become a burden in the sense that like they're just so selfish. They'll put themselves first. They'll cannibalize anyone else, you know, just taking care of their own interests. You know what I mean? So as I always say, as long as you're not hurting anyone, you gotta do it because you love it. If you don't love it, if you like, I hate drawing. It's like you don't have to draw. Life is too short to be doing things that you hate to do. You know, you got to think about also the end product. The thing that why are you doing this? Do you just like the process of drawing or do you like the finished product? And that's valid depending on whatever you choose, on who you are and what you want with it. Everything needs to have a reason. You have to be doing something for a reason. Unless it's just like a therapy thing or it's like, oh, I just pick up my pencil and start doodling for fun. Then even that is a reason. Free drawing or like loose sketching. Just want to fix his boot a little bit. So he got his foot all the way up in the air. So I do have to be a little more cognizant of the shape of his boot. Okay, let's keep reading. Hello, the real Spider-Man webs. As I'm drawing Spider-Man and a bunch of Marvel characters. Watching these lives want to make me say a little more my life, but I don't want to go too far. So I just mainly talk about Star Wars facts or just say some stuff. I get that feeling too. I that's the thing, it's just gotta be whatever. uh, I don't mind talking, and answering and addressing stuff. It's just you got to keep in mind how much you're willing to share and in a public live and stuff like that. And you can always just be like vague too. Maybe I can address something without being so specific. I'll read the chat in a second. I'm just trying to tie up these webs. Did you like my pun? We'll do the signature in the bottom corner this time.
Now or bank us rewards for a future trip. Save your way. It's exactly what it sounds like, unlike headphones. Save your way only at hotels.com. Hotels.com. It's all the name.
Okay. Let's get some of the costuming design. I almost want to add like a little sliver of a building. Let me see. Hold on. Let's Let's try something real quick. Let's put this right here. I'm gonna try something. I might erase it. Ruler here. Hello, milk, butter, lemon. So if you're asking how much I'm gonna charge for this drawing, this is gonna be a set of ACEOs that I'm doing. So I will be selling these, starting at $15 on eBay. So I will put that on eBay for I probably have the bid doing for like a week. This is my first time doing eBay, so I'm just doing a bunch of these cards first before I set all that up. So uh these are some of the ones that I'll be putting up. So I'm gonna have some options, some variety. Right now I'm just doing Marvel characters, but in the future I will branch out to other things. Oops. So I will ink them and color them with alcohol markers. So I'll ink them with fine liners and then I'll color them with alcohol markers. So if you are interested in buying one of these, I would say stay tuned. Stay tuned on my to see what I do with that. I think what I'll do is I'll have some buildings. Let's bring this up a little bit so that way I'm thinking about like composition here. I don't want your eye to get too caught up on the web. See too much of a tangent here. So I'm going to bring it in. There we go. And have an end to the web. So that way it doesn't crash into these buildings here. I think what I'll do when I color this one, I'll color the sky blue behind him. And what I'll do to kind of break it up is I'll add some clouds. And this would also be really good because if he's got a blue costume and the sky's blue, I think what I'll do is some areas. So that's red, that's red. I'll have some clouds back here because this is going to be blue. So to avoid blue on blue, maybe I'll make a giant cloud kind of like that. Okay, I'll read the chat in a second. I just need to, I'm just laying out the composition here. And the webs and stuff I'll draw once I've inked the body so that way I don't mess up anything. I could even put little birds in the sky. Little pigeons. So you're really getting a sense that this is you know, a sense of scenery through like the context clues. I put some windows. Real simple, real tiny. And even then, I feel like I'm kind of going a little too much by even doing this building stuff. There we go. So we got some buildings, some clouds, some birds, and that will be fun to ink. Sorry if I took a little too long to respond. I just want to get this in here. Okay. And that'll come out a little bit better once I have all the ink in and you can make out the body a bit better. Okay, let's see where I left off in the comments. Why do villains always have a PhD in something? Doc Ock, Scarecrow, the Lizard. Uh, when it comes to scientists and stuff like that, sometimes, in the great words of Jurassic Park, they were so concerned if they could do it that they didn't think should they do it. And if we see them in the movies, oftentimes there's desperation in why they're doing something. For the Lizard, he's Dr. Connor said lost his arm. He's trying to come up with this cure, not just for himself, but for the rest of like humanity. And sometimes they have like their funding cut, and they're like, "Oh, I got to do it now. Prove to them that it was successful before they cut my funding." And then that's where you see things like the Green Goblin's thing in the 2002 movie. And we'll do a quick Deadpool. I did not see the Punisher special. There's a Punisher special. I watched the 2 seasons that were on Netflix. I'm just trying to enjoy life as least because it won't be forever. Yes, we will one day die and be at peace. It's better to enjoy your life, and how it might be hard, you still have to enjoy uh on the stuff you do. Like, yeah, absolutely. And I like to say, what's the meaning of life? The meaning of life is really, doing what you love and living for those you love. Nice and simple. Right after doing that more complex one, getting a nice and simple one in here. For the sake of time, I think maybe we'll do inking tomorrow then. Uh, so yes, Dave, maybe we'll finish off on that Star Wars, like Star Wars sketch just to finish up. And then because I don't think we have time to do inking.
New York Presbyterian. We care for more hearts than any other hospital in New York. With over 60 locations across Brooklyn and doctors from Weill Cornell Medicine, we bring expert healthcare closer to home.
You do heads so perfect. Thank you. I remember when I didn't. I remember when I would just give them these very bulbous skulls on the back. And even then I don't know if I would say it's perfect. I really wanted to get this little tip at the end of his mask, the top of his mask in. So we just barely fit it in. Trying to decide. I think my signature might be better down here to occupy some of the space. So I'm thinking like, oh, do I want to keep my signature in the same spot all the time? But I don't imagine that someone's going to be buying all of them, especially if it's, auctioning. Hello, Black Flag Age. Black Flag Age. Okay, sorry. I was like reading the name. Yes, Deadpool. And I'll definitely will be doing more Deadpools. Since I will be coloring these, I can also do like color variants as well. So I'll have like X-Force Deadpool or um the X-Men Deadpool where he's like blue and yellow. The Merc with the mouth. All right. So I'm gonna flip through them real quick. Actually, let me bring this up a little more. I'm gonna flip through them and then we'll do a quick sketch, Star Wars sketch. And then we'll end the live there. Okay. All right. Like costume Spider-Man, and I'll be inking these if I'm able to go live tomorrow. I'll ink them tomorrow. I'll be inking some of them. Venom, Goblin, Hobgoblin, Wolverine, Mysterio, Shocker. Yes, okay, we'll make it a guessing one. Some of these guys don't need any introduction, so I'm not gonna list off their names. Conserve my saliva. Okay, let's put that to the side. I got it on my little easel. Oh, I made too many. I'm overflowing. It's falling off my easel. Okay. Uh the thing about Star Wars is it's so good at its silhouettes that it makes it kind of hard to kind of do. It's you guess them quick, right? Guessing who it is it's not that hard to do because everyone has such a unique silhouette. Let's see. I'm just thinking. I'm also thinking too, with no reference, what character can I draw without really any reference? All right, I got again no reference, so it may not be fully accurate to as much as I would like it to be. All right, Dave, get ready. What did I miss? I think the only one I read here was and thanks for another Star Wars drawing for plus tomorrow's my 17th birthday. So in honor of Dave's 17th birthday, we're doing a Star Wars sketch.
Google Fi Wireless, letting you
Hello, uh, newcomer.
or connectivity.
I can't pronounce your name, and I apologize. All right, Dave, you ready? You can tell me how to pronounce it though. No, 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 no hints. I think you got it. It's too easy. You don't need a hint. The second you see it, you're like, okay, well, it's obviously not a human. You got it, Dave. I believe in you. Yes, you got it. The Geonosians, the bugs. Put some respect on my boy's name. Well, good because I finished it. I think once I put these like spikes, I was like, he's gonna get it once I put those. So let me save that for last. I wish I had a reference so I would make it like perfect, but I'll just have to settle on this being something of a remark. Forgot the names. Forgetting the names makes it seem less like a geek, you know. I think it sounds more like a geek when you know the thing. Like, actually, according to the Star Wars Bible, they were originally going to be called the Bug Things, but then George Lucas decided that a last minute change to Geonosian would sound more specific. Then that's more geeky. So I hope that looks like a Geonosian enough. I grew up with it. I lived it. I fought in the Clone Wars, the original Star Wars Battlefront, and the second Star Wars Battlefront. I did like 4 tours of Star Wars Battlefront. Actually, 3. I only played the Star Wars Battlefront EA. I only played that like once, and not even that long. And then I was playing the Star Wars Battlefront 2 EA. The Death Star was not the first planet killer. It was the ship that was used in the Jedi Civil War. Now that I didn't know, it sounds like that's something that probably happened in Knights of the Old Republic, which I can totally see them doing that as some kind of like foreshadowing to the Death Star. Which is also why I really feel like they really didn't need to do Starkiller Base. It makes more sense to have something be like a precursor to a Death Star where it's like, oh, they've been building to it. And instead of it being like continuing on from the Death Star, and it's like the Death Star was iconic. Like, don't try to like outdo it because now it just feels silly. Especially when it's like you're gonna tell me that the First Order doesn't have like all the funds that the Empire did, but they're somehow gonna make this thing bigger than the Death Star and destroy like more planets and stuff like that. One thing I do like is that they built it into an existing planet. Cause like realistically, why do you need a metal moon? You know what I mean? When you can just grab a barren, empty planet in the vastness of space and then use that as a template to work off of. It's like sculpting. Instead of sculpting straight from clay, you can grab some aluminum foil and bulk out the thing and work off of that. We fought in the Battle of Geonosis. I think that's the name of the Battle of Umbera, the Battle of Umbera, and the Battle of Curacao. So there was the Battle of Geonosis, and then there was the second Battle of Geonosis. Until the new Star Wars movies came out, Rise of the Skywalker, we shot each other so we wouldn't be in hell. Our new bodies. We became one with the Force. Okay. Before we end this live, I do have an extra paper here. I think we could do one more. We could do one more bonus one. Let's see. Okay. True story. Let's see. You ready, Dave? What are we doing? I'm trying to think. Should I pick something a little more obscure? Should I pick something a little more standard? Well, it was not too easy. I don't want to do something too easy. All right, I think I got one. I don't know too many things from the old Republic. I know like a fair amount. I played one game. This is Droid.
Hotels.com is where you go to choose from hundreds of thousands of hotels and earn rewards on every stay. It's exactly what it sounds like chicken fingers, which are not what they sound like. Hotels.com. It's all in the name.
I'm gonna put some Star Wars music. I know you can't hear it, but so I messed that shoulder up. All right, still guessing. It's not dirge. I'll just keep adding to it. Yeah, the electric staff. Do you know what it is? Yes, the Magna droids. The IG-100 manga droids. Also, this particular one, as I gave it a Kalish hood just to buy you some time, is General Grievous's bodyguards. Crush him. Make him suffer. Now again, I'm drawing just from memory here, so it's not gonna look all that great. Even though I'm not adding ink, just some red in the eyes would be fun. Maybe I should have done them in ink. Goodbye, Caramel Girl. Thank you for dropping by. How did you know? I told you. I lived it. I read my fair share of Wikipedia in my day. Oh wait, there's one more red part right here. I remember when I saw the movie and they cut the head off and it was still moving. That was like one of the first times I saw something like that. I was like, oh, that's so cool. That was like their whole gimmick to me. I was like, these things can't die. Chop the head off, he's still coming. Oh, because I kind of have him chilling right now, so he didn't activate it. He's not in battle stance, so he didn't have the electricity. Or maybe he got it. Just so you can see how I would draw it. Okay. Blue and purple mixed. Yeah, it's like a purplish color. Because it's electricity. So there would be some blue in there. The general hat was blue and purple. Are you talking about the manga guards and General Grievous? 10th level, thousands of battle droids. Okay. Oh, the droid itself. Was it a different color?
When I decided to finish my RN to be
Alrighty, so we got our bonus drawings. I think that's it for tonight. Bonus drawings, some Star Wars doodles. These are technically remarks. I should have done them in ink, so that way they could feel a little more like polished. But I didn't trust myself, and I was like, "What if I don't like it?" So, we should have done it in ink. Lord Sidious. Hello, Savia. Did I say your name right? Saba Ava. And happy birthday. And Dave's birthday is tomorrow. So we got some birthdays here. Um, I'm going to go one more time through the list. And then we'll start saying our goodbye. So, a little introduction at the end. Again, I'm a comic book artist. I have a free to read series you can read on the Graveyard Comics Facebook page. That's called Nadir Archives. There's an album for that. Also have a playlist on my TikTok. You can read it there as well. Nadir Archives. I have some published books. Dead Liberty, Blood Hunt. Those are on Amazon. And for these Marvel cards, I'm doing them on I'll be selling them on eBay starting at $15. And I'll be inking them and coloring them. So maybe on tomorrow's live I'll have them colored. So we're gonna flip through them real quick one more time. Do you get it? The reference. It's not a reference, it's a quote. I will be sending you to the Mustafar system on the Outer Rim. It is a volcanic planet. You will be safe there. Safe? I have my doubts after the death of Count Dooku. You can keep us safe. Be thankful, Viceroy, that you have not found yourself in my grasp. Hello there. General Kenobi. I've got the whole script in my head. You are a bold one. Kill him. Or is it crush him? Make him suffer. Back away. I will deal with this Jedi fine myself. All right, time to go. All right, let me take a sip of my drink and then run out of here. Shows all the lightsabers. What do you say? He said, I think he said, "You fool, I have been trained in your Jedi acts by Count Dooku." And then that's when he brought him up. I watched that movie too many damn times. I watched that movie so many times as a kid. It was like the only Star Wars movie I had. And I had seen the other ones, I just didn't own them. All right, guys. So I'm gonna run out of here. I think that was productive. I saved Carnage, I saved Deadpool, and I saved the Lizard to do on this live. I would have done them long before. I did want to draw some like posing ones for Spider-Man, so we got to do that too. So I would say that was a very productive live. Just reading these Star Wars quotes. Okay. Let's end on Spider-Man. I just noticed I forgot to add his little belt thing design. Okay, there we go. Let's zoom in. All right, guys, it's time to go. Get your final comments in, and I will read them and head out. All right. Are we ready? Are we ready to say goodbye? I did see them. just didn't read them out loud. All right. I don't know if you left and came back, Minion. Did you see the ones we did? So we did this one. Read them out loud. So this is today's batch that we did on the live. But I also did these today at work. So looking at today's productivity as far as the cards go, I got a lot. I also did a lot of work on one of the covers for Dynamite Comics while I was at work as well. Yes, always productive. Oops, hit my camera.
Well, I'm quite an iceberg. This
Your new empire. I think my allegiance is to the Republic, to democracy. Okay, I'm gonna go now. Thank you guys for watching. Happy birthday again, Dave. I hope you get to spend it eating something nice and going somewhere and making it memorable. So thank you everyone for watching. And oh wait, I said we were gonna end on Spider-Man. Let's bring him back. Okay. Thank you everyone for watching and supporting and watching the videos, reading the comics. I'll let you guys know how these end up going if any end up getting sold and let you know which ones are no longer in my possession. All right. Good night, Dave, and good night, everyone. Yeah, I'm hopefully can go live tomorrow. So as always, make it because it doesn't exist and do it because you love it. Enjoy the rest of your night, and good night, Specters.